Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk, and today we're tackling another vinyl tag, or for me, it's going to be an MP3 slash cassette slash CD slash vinyl tag, so lots of mixed formats. And Nick Rudo started this one. It's on compilation albums, and it was kind of funny because when I saw his original post on it, it was literally yesterday. So I'm filming this on Saturday, May 22nd. So Friday, May 21st, I had recorded a video that I'm posting on Sunday, May 23rd, tomorrow as I tape this, which is of my favorite artists that I only own a compilation of. And I made that, I had no idea that Nick was going to do this compilation tag. So I'll be honest, some of the material is going to be recycled from that other video. Some of it will be unique to this video. There'll be stuff tomorrow that's unique, but there will be some mixing. Not that anybody is going to watch all of both of my videos anyway. Also, just before I made this, Momma's Rekkid, who's like at 80 subs, and he should have more, made a really good entry as well. So I'll talk about them. So first, show us a comp that introduced you to a genre. So I'm going to show you my phone because this is something I have downloaded. And so, see if we can get the focus on that okay. It's not focusing very well, but it's Welcome to Zamrock. So this is was a two record set. So there are two volumes, and it was referring to music from Zambia from about 1972 to 1977. So if you don't know, there was actually kind of a good sort of garage psych rock coming out of Zambia at that time. It was a lot more hard rock sounding than the music that was coming from Nigeria, the Afrobeat, Fela Kuti, and that sort of music. And so Witch, Amanaz, some of the big bands from that Ngazi family. So song number 2 on this particular disc by Amanaz, History of Man, is my favorite Zamrock song. I kind of describe it as if Peter Tosh was fronting a Black Sabbath cover band. And then the other volume has more of the yellowish cover to it. I've actually ordered a few Zamrock albums. Unfortunately, a lot of them are in back order, so I'm waiting. I do have one by the group Blackfoot. I'm getting something by Witch. I'm getting something by Amanaz. Those haven't arrived yet. I have Ngazi Family is another good one that I have on a wish list. So a garage rock or psych comp. Well, I guess what I just showed you could have counted. And so some of you may not think that this counts, but I'm going to define the White Stripes as being a garage rock enough to qualify here. So this is a recently issued greatest hits set. As I'm kind of a Third Man Records guy, I've been off and on in their record club. I'm on right now, so I got the 3-disc set rather than the 2-disc sets. The 3-disc is for the members only. The 3rd disc is B-sides and rarities. The first 2 have sort of the standard hits. And so what was offered to the general public was just those first 2 without the rarities disc that regular people probably don't care about anyway. Show a Lost Leader Warner Brothers comp. I don't actually have any. So I'm going to show something that's sort of along those lines, as in something you could order fairly cheap. It would come through the mail. It was meant to introduce you to bands on theirs. And so this is a cassette I've shown before. This is SST Records Program Annihilator. And so it says $5.98 right there. And so this features Black Flag, St. Vitus, SWA, DC3, Overkill, and Worm. That's Worm with a U with an umlaut over it. And so I actually learned about this. I was pretty much into sort of standard 80s heavy metal when I was in high school. This was probably in either like Circus magazine or Hit Parader. one of the popular hard rock magazines of the time. They advertise this. It says $5.98 on here. I'm pretty sure I paid less than $5.98 for it. And so they would send you this, and of course they would send you, you would have the opportunity to order some of these other albums. And because especially this was the pre-internet days, if you lived in a small town, you didn't live in Los Angeles, or you didn't live in New York, or someplace with like a thriving punk scene or independent scene, it was hard to get exposed to this sort of music. The next two I'm actually going to skip because I don't own a Numero or a Light in the Attic comp. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you this big binder. And what's inside this big binder? I have CMJ compilation. We'll hold it like this. CMJ, College Music Journal compilation CDs. There were 158 of them. I don't have them all, but I have most of them. I subscribed to this magazine for several years. What would happen is that once a month, the magazine would come out. They would come out with this CD compilation. I think records companies at the time kind of, because I would notice people that were sort of being pushed at the time would usually be the first couple of songs. And so here's the one from October of, what year would this be? This is probably October 1994, this one. So, and again, I don't know if that's focusing well enough, but Sugar is the first song, then Soul Coughing, Luscious Jackson. You go farther down the line, Body Count, G-Love, and Special Sauce. Occasionally there would be an older song they would throw on, so there's like an Adam Ant song on here. But obviously there was a lot of alternative music on these, but there would be some more, there would be hip-hop, R&B, just a big variety of stuff. And so some of it was awesome, some of it was crap. So just looking at sort of these early 95s, there's a Radiohead song, a Veruca Salt song, Elastica, sort of leading off these CDs. And so there's certainly people I discovered through these CDs. The very first time I ever heard Alanis Morissette was from CMJ. Of course, she became pretty famous. She didn't need CMJ to listen to her. Lauren Hoffman, who's a big favorite of mine, I also discovered her through that. You kind of needed her because she never really got radio play. She was kind of unjustly forgotten. The band Everclear, I remember hearing them before they became famous. I saw them play a pretty small venue. All right, probably enough about that. Show a jazz comp. At first, I was wondering, do I have one? Because typically the jazz I've been buying recently, I'm not buying comps. But I do have this CD comp that I bought a long time ago. So this is Bebop 1945 to 1953. I think I showed it in my Jazz Final tag as well. Still has the price tag from Wax Trax, so this must have been when I was living in Colorado. So this is pretty heavy on Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker. I think there's a little bit of Tad Dameron on here as well, if I remember right. Yeah, and a few other people. I actually preferred stuff that comes a bit later, late 50s, 60s, more your hard bop. But there's jazz comp. Show a live music comp. So I'm going to show you Live at Emo's. And so this is a comp that came out sometime probably mid 1990s. They don't seem to have a yeah, they don't seem to have a date on here. So Emo's opened in December 1989 in Houston, Texas as a neighborhood bar. In May 1992, they took the formula to Austin. This record has been compiled from several live shows at Emo's Austin between September and November of 1993, and is just a sampling of the bands that have made our club a success. So I went to that place in Austin a few times in the 90s, and so this has a variety of sort of punk and alternative bands. I know it's going to be very hard to read who those bands are, But notably, the second song is by a band called Fuck Emos. Fuckamos, however you want to pronounce it. And so the story of that is that there was literally a band. So emos in Austin became kind of like, if you were sort of a punk alternative band, you wanted to play there, and if you didn't get a show there, this band couldn't get booked there, so they got frustrated. They changed the name of their band to Fuckamos, Fuck Emos. And then they got to play emos after they changed their name. Obviously, that name didn't lead them to any sort of mainstream success, of course. All right. Show a comp on colored vinyl. So Momma's record showed this one, but I'm going to show it as well. So this is World Psychedelic Classics 3, The Funky Fuzzy Sounds of West Africa. So this is something that is a great introduction to that sort of music. And so you can see my copy is on sort of a translucent orange vinyl. Probably my favorite on here is a guy named William Anyabor. There you go. All right. Where are we at? Oh, show a holiday comp. All right. So again, we're going mid-90s alternative. You Slay Me. So this is 12 songs from 12 songs from 12 Atlantic artists for the 12 days of Christmas. In warning, there is Juliana Hatfield content on here. So song number 6, Juliana Hatfield, Make It Home. So if you remember the TV show My So-Called Life, they had Juliana Hatfield write a song for the Christmas episode. Then they actually had her end up playing the role of the homeless girl who sang the song. And so that's on here. Collective Soul, Tori Amos, Victoria Williams, some of the other notables that appeared on this comp. And I don't tend to be a Christmas music sort of guy. Show a world music comp. Well, I'm going to go with this one. This is Afro-Peruvian Classics, The Soul of Black Peru. So reading from the back cover here. So there's the back cover. This is Secret Music, a collection of beautiful songs and infectious grooves that has been hidden for years in the coastal towns and barrios of Peru. It's not the guys with flutes and drums and woolly hats. It's the music of the Black Peruvian communities. And so, okay, you can see the vinyl me please. So that's how I got this. Pretty limited. It was only an edition of 300. I jumped on it when they put this out. And so if you can find it on whatever format, that's recommended. Show a soul comp. Well, I think the only thing I had that qualified in that is this Al Green Greatest Hits CD. I will just mention that Al Green is not going to be on my favorite artist that I only own a comp of tomorrow. The reason being that I actually own a regular Al Green album as well. Thus, he does not qualify there. Show a reggae comp. Well, I showed this in the reggae vinyl tag. We're going the cassette route again. Rhythm Come Forward, a reggae anthology. I could have just shown a Bob Marley Greatest Hits. There's, of course, a couple of Bob Marley songs on here, a couple of Peter Tosh, Oswald, Yellowman, Jimmy Cliff, Third World. So this is just a cheapo CBS records. If you owned cassettes back in the day, you had a bunch of cassettes that had the white and red on there like that. All right, where are we at? 13, show a punk comp. Well, I've already shown you the SST one. Now let's go for alternative tentacles. This is Virus 100. So this was the 100th release on the alternative tentacles label. Probably released in about 92 or so, 1992. And this was basically 16 songs. They were all Dead Kennedys covers. So covers of the Dead Kennedys. So you've got, I'll just read off a few. You've got Faith No More playing Let's Lynch the Landlord. Actually, L7 also played a version of Let's Lynch the Landlord. Napalm Death with Nazi Punks Fuck Off. Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy with California Uber Alles. Mojo Nixon and the Toad Lickers with Winnebago Warrior. Sister Double Happiness Holiday in Cambodia. So it's basically a Dead Kennedys tribute album. Virus 100 Alternative Tentacles. Show a favorite album cover from a comp. So I showed this in the Waxed in his movies themed contest. So American Laundromat Records puts out these cool, quirky tribute and compilation albums. So this is Ice Age Latin, a tribute to Wes Anderson. And I just think this is the coolest cover ever. So these are all songs that were covers of songs that were featured in Wes Anderson movies. So there's Juliana Hatfield content here. So her cover of Elliott Smith's Needle in the Hay appeared in the Royal Tannenbaums. And you can see it's on the blue and pink vinyl. Show a comp featuring cover songs. Well, I'm going to show you another American Laundromat's comp. Say Yes, a tribute to Elliott Smith. And so more Juliana Hatfield content. They actually recycled the song, and Needle in the Hay is also on this comp. Other notables on here: Tanya Donnelly doing Between the Bars, Julian Baker doing Ballad of Big Nothing, Waxahachie doing Angelus, Lou Barlow doing Division Day. And so this was a compilation of Elliott Smith songs. So then show a greatest hits compilation. So let's stick with Elliott Smith. So this is an introduction to Elliott Smith. So this was released by Kill Rock Stars. So obviously a lot of those songs from the compilation are here in the original version done by the man himself. And this came out on Kill Rock Stars. So this is it features songs off of all 7 of Elliott Smith's studio albums. And so while we're talking about Kill Rock Stars, show an indie alternative comp. Where did it go? Yep, here it is. So some songs from the Kill Rock Stars singles. So this was them compiling together various obscure 7 inches. And so there is Elliott Smith on here with something called Some Song. Is it on the compilation? Probably no, it's not on the compilation. It may not have appeared on an album. Bikini Kill, Heavens to Betsy are probably the other most notable bands. Heavens to Betsy was Corin Tucker's band before Slater Kinney. There was a queercore band called Mukilteo Fairies, and so they were a queer band. And then the Fairies was a double entendre because that was also a place where there was a ferry where you could go to some of the various islands. Okay, what do we got? Show a comp you bought on Record Store Day. Okay, so I'm going to show George Clinton and P-Funk All-Stars, Make My Funk the P-Funk. And I could have used this for live because this is a compilation of live recordings. Could have done it for color because it's on this purple vinyl. But I'm going to use it for the Record Store Day entry. This is not something that's essential, particularly. It's probably more meant for somebody like me that owns. I mean, I have Maggot Brain. I think I have one Parliament on CD, but I'm not like a completist on George Clinton. If you are, you probably don't actually need this, unless of course you're a completist and you need everything. All right, we're almost done here. Number 19, show a comp from your region of the world. So I live a couple hours away from Nashville, so I'm going to show you Billboard Classic Country's #1 hits. I'm sure a lot of this stuff was recorded in Nashville. So these are just some big classic country hits from the 60s and 70s. Willie Nelson, Patsy Cline, Buck Owens, Tammy Wynette, Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, Merle Haggard, Conway Twitty, Loretta Lynn, you know the names, Kenny Rogers. The Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens song, Street to Bakerfield, I think is probably about the most recent song on here. They've got something by Farron Young. That might be the oldest song on here. And then obviously somebody like Elliot at Lazy Dog could probably do a much better entry there. I saw on Just Cause there's something called Kentucky Country, old time music from Kentucky, original 1922 to 1937 recordings, compilation on Rounder Records, which I don't own. Show your favorite comp and explain why. That's the last question. So I'm going to show you this sub pop comp called The Grunge Years in a limited edition of 500,000. And so it starts with a Nirvana song. Obviously, I knew who Nirvana was, but it introduced me to a lot of bands I really like that I didn't know about before, because I got this comp probably right when it came out. There's L7, Tad, Beat Happening, a Mark Lanigan solo song in Screaming Trees. Mark Lanigan is the singer for Screaming Trees. A band I really like, I might feature on You Need That Rekkid, is The Fluid. They never, I think they were from Denver. They never really got the attention they deserved. Afghan Wigs, Babes in Toyland, Mudhoney, Love Battery. That's maybe in some other video I'll tell the story about the craziest show I ever went to in my life, which was Love Battery as the headliner and a local Montana band, because I was living there at that time, called Spurge, who were the openers. The craziest show I ever went into in my life. So maybe when I review my Spurge record, we'll talk about that show. So I hope this is the longest video I've ever made. If you got through all of it, congratulations.